as rather than a kind of set of monologues, that we do it as a kind of conversation, so we'll see some interruptions. I'm not quite sure which, but we'll work it out. But yeah, I mean, I suppose where do you start?
At the beginning. 2008, when we applied, we were in India, and we applied, we were responding to a job ad that was in the garden. And there's heady days, I remember Monday Gardening used to carry creating jobs. And it was kind of very brief. It was to vision and establish, curate a ceramics and design festival for Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah, and then I think it's once we were appointed, it was then we shaped it into the Biennial. Gave it its title, slightly nervously, I suppose, and then let it loose with a branding company. We came back with pink, which I think we were also a bit nervous about.
We were making claims before we even existed.
Yeah, I guess that was the problem.
But we knew that doing that we had to be a bit kind of bold and taking a bit of a risk, really. I suppose that was what that was about.
Yeah, and I think also it's worth pointing out that our kind of funding then was coming from the Staffs Regen company. In those days when there was Regen companies. And Tom McCartney, the then director, his criteria for the success of the first Biennial was Channel 4 news, broadsheet coverage, and a bloody good opening. Now, that wouldn't have been the kind of criteria that his opposite members within the City Council would have given us. But he could see that actually this thing was going to work, it needed to work out there at that level. Okay, so, there's legacy and there's impact within the city and there's taxpayers come back, but actually he did get a sense that it needed to be shouting in order for it to establish itself, even if it was on rather fragile legs, if I can stretch the metaphor.
And it was slightly more formally expressed, wasn't it? That we had an objective to get greater profile of Stoke-on-Trent as a place to live and work and visit. And the second was to get positive stories about Stoke-on-Trent into the national press, because it was at the time when the press was awash with negative stories. Wedgwood, gone to the wall, numerous things, and it was, as far as the rest of the world was concerned, Stoke was a basket case. And there he was heading up a regeneration initiative, and he needed a result. Yeah, he needed a quick hit. He just wanted to get a sort of positive message. He was really onto something, actually. But he didn't. He got sacked not long after. He had to leave.
And so I suppose our three straplines for the BCD were to reveal Stoke to the world, to bring the world to Stoke, but also to reveal Stoke to its residents in a different way through the medium of ceramics. And I think that's, it's important to remember that really, that it was about, we were conscious that there were, that in a way ceramics had a dirty, it had a dirty connotation. It was a failure. It was lost jobs. It was kind of history for a lot of people, and so I guess we were conscious that we needed to reconnect people with ceramics through a different door, I suppose, so that it wasn't just to see ceramics as a way of life, but to look at ways in which other artists responded to the medium. And I think that relationship with the medium has kind of grown and changed as we've developed the Biennial.
It was quite interesting that the first when we had the picture, we made this bold claim, the British Ceramics Biennial, and here it is, it's coming, and not only is it coming, it will be here on your doorstep in 12 months' time. Actually, it's 11 months when we actually announced it. At which point the funding evaporated. And then suddenly reappeared within about 6 months of saying we're going to be doing this world-class event in Stoke with and it became actually a call to artists, and it was the artists who really responded to that call to do something significant instead around the idea of ceramics and its potential. Just read today, there's a review of this brand in Crafts magazine, and it said the first biennial was a bit of a dog's dinner, which is quite interesting.
I don't think we thought it was a dog's dinner. But it was a problem in that we had the Belgium isn't the most appropriate place to do everything. So I think we've had to learn as we go along, and also at that time, obviously, Spode had gone into receivership, and so it was sitting on the horizon as a possibility. It was just too difficult to. The city had the water, so it wasn't an opportunity. It wasn't a possibility at that time, but it was certainly there in the background, wasn't it? There was researching the space.
Yeah, and actually it was an option rather than until about 2 months before we were still thinking about potentially having something on this site, but it didn't work out that way. I mean, we weren't trying to encompass the whole city, really, were we, in that first plan, but we did have a sense of what we wanted to do was, as part of the kind of visitor experience that had trained, it was not just to experience ceramic in its various forms, but actually to experience the city, so which itself is, kind of speaks to the heritage, and it's what the artists who all the artists who want, that's what they're responding to, is the city and this heritage and this fact that it's not entirely post-industrial. I mean, I think that's one of the first things I noted down there. I mean, it's not. It's about being an industrial citizen still. It's perhaps differently to any the experience of the manufacturing industry, other manufacturing. UK, whilst of course it hasn't all just gone in any sector, but what's unique about Stoke is that it is still a centre for ceramics. I mean, the motor industry still has some bits in there from investment, but it's also in stuff around. It's unparalleled, really. There is no comparison. So it's not a post-industrial. Bits of it.
Yeah,
sorry, I lost my thread there.
Yeah, and I think also the other thing that struck us, kind of moving away from the strict narrative, if you like, but one of the things that certainly struck us from that, I remember that first opening in Emma Bridgewater, when we had the first launch night, and I wasn't here for the second, but for the, I think connecting it to the third this time, is that real sense of those, well this time it must have been about 650, 700 people, but that real sense of people coming home, of actually, you know, all of the people in that audience, they weren't all ceramic artists necessarily, but they all had some connection with ceramics, one form or another, whether through practice or relations or whatever. But the real kind of sense of community and of people, of everyone coming to the mothership from another city. And I think that's one of the, for me, that's one of the key kind of emotional responses, if you like. And I think, you know, when the Sentinel comes and asks us, really, the wall exhibition comes from Stoke or from Staffordshire, what I try and say to them is, look, that's fine, but actually you need to know that there are artists who are showing in this exhibition for whom showing in Stoke is absolutely a crucial part of their CV. You know, it's really important that they show in Stoke at the museum or here. And I think it's very easy to forget that. That's actually, you know, with all the prizes and the other stuff that we offer people, actually just being able to show your work in Stoke is really valuable, and it's an asset that I guess we took for granted, but I think it's something that I've certainly recognised is actually something quite precious to people, and I suppose I haven't really twigged that could be something as important as part of what we do.
So you've got the kind of idea of where we started with all of this. I suppose we started with the idea that we needed to have at least 3 shots at it to kind of make the arguments or bed in or to prove it, yeah. But and I suppose that's what we're saying there, that 750 or was it 850 at the opening, or maybe 1,000. We will let. But did you get that sense that there was the kind of less of what was certainly at the first one, and still there at the second, there was far less of people standing back and saying, okay, right, what have you got? This time, there's much more, fantastic, great, it's really good to be here again, you know, wow, you kind of fit, you know, and we've got a stake in this. You know, we're not standing back, waiting for
it's a real festival atmosphere. And I think to get that, you do need to get everybody engaged, don't you? You need to feel a sense of ownership, otherwise they're not going to give it themselves. If you like to, you know, to really get involved and enjoy it.
I think there was last time though as well. I don't know, I wasn't at the first one, but I'm sure there was a sense from people that were waiting to prove something. Is that what it was?
Yeah, well, I think the second one, there was actually, I was having a breakdown at the time. Jeremy was ill. So, no, there was a real, thank God we pulled it off. The bulldozers in here, and, you know, we were installing wearing our hats, high visibility jackets, steel toe cap boots, and white gloves. You know, it was bonkers. So there's a real sense of relief at the opening, the second one. But I still think, I think people thought, oh, great gig, good, that's really, you know, that's sort of surprising and sort of peak, but there's still sort of, you know, but what difference does this make? There's still that, but I thought there was a much more greater sense of celebration of, this is making a difference, here we all are.
Yeah.
We're kind of...
For me, I think the difference, they all had their own character, each was creating something. And the first one, there was a huge buzz, I think, of curiosity on there, to see what we were going to, you know, get to have a look at how is it going to work, what is this thing. I think that was, for me, the atmosphere of the first one. And excitement, was a real curiosity. I think the second one I thought was slightly overtaken, you can say, by the sort of corporate specificness of it. I think that, to me, that kind of, you know, just dominated a little bit, that event. But no, as I said, I think the ownership and really, you know, has really kind of been negative.
I think, I mean, the other thing that I go on about, but it's not a whinge, it's just stating the fact that because of the kind of ups and downs of core funding, and you know, each time we wait for the City Council to make their mind up, it's meant that we haven't had a continuity in terms of being able to plan and as curators to kind of research it properly. So we've never done what all our colleagues who run biennials do, which is go and see each other's biennials in Korea and Japan and China and whatever. But I think that the upside of that is it means that this thing is entirely born of the city and comes out of the city, and it doesn't have, you know, headline stars who have their work shown in X number of other biennials. Although I said Claire, she does tend to show her work quite regularly internationally. But it's meant that we've had to create something quite from within, but also be grasp opportunities when they come. So it's a kind of more organic form of curation rather than going out there and being really tough about this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. So, and I think that's a good thing actually. I mean, I think it's given us something that's special to Stoke. And the other thing that I think is special is this whole relationship with industry. Because I don't think there's certainly we wouldn't get to have a fine art line in the same way. This particular environment that we're in means that we have to, and we want to, explore that relationship with industry. I think that even to the point of, you know, we have a functioning studio here that is itself starting to start playing a role, which I don't think we necessarily as a component of the beginning.
It is becoming increasingly important, but it's a very important component. This sort of sense of continuity, something that the studios, the focal point that continues to exist, and which programs can be both generated and delivered in the intermediate period. That's the plan. I think there's return to our script, but the point at which we're going to be asking each of the questions about what do you think is the legacy of what we've achieved now, afterwards and that. We've got a bit of a brand, and it's something that's what we set out to do, which we were sort of claiming at the outset, is that we're a bit different. And what is that difference? Is that, that it's got a relationship with the industry. Not altogether comfortable relationship, but it is at least explored. I think there's something else about that brand, which is that it's resourceful. It's not. We are not. I don't think we exude a sort of any sense of being upholstered. And that's...
This is as good as it gets. And these aren't ours, are they?
But I think that's kind of... Given that we are part of the regeneration, that's what
you know, it takes time, and it's we have to keep going back to this kind of funding hiccups that we deal with, but I suppose, you know, we are at the end of a research phase, if you like. You know, we've done the 3 biennials almost. And I guess, you know, if one stands right back from it, we are, you know, it wouldn't be the best time in the last 10, 15 years to decide to start a biennial in Stoke-on-Trent at the beginning of a recession. You know, the fact that we've kind of hung in there, and we have delivered the 3rd one, and we are very definitely at a place that we would have hoped we were at when we started out, which is a sense of the foundation. We are setting up the foundation, but actually a physical sense of being based somewhere, of being based in the city. And there's something there to build on. We have got, apart from all the kind of evaluative statistics that we've got, and the qualitative evaluation of the three biennials, we also have a set of partners that we've been nurturing. And that will develop. I mean, the relationship with industry is difficult. It's not sweet and light. Each of those relationships has its own particular characteristic, and who you deal with in industry at any one time. And I guess maybe what we've had to learn about that is that it's not necessarily about being cautious, but it's about that each relationship is very different. Depending on who the artist is, who you're dealing with in a company, what people's expectations are, and certainly this idea of the post-studio, this idea of Glenn Adamson has been writing about it, which is very much based on what we're doing here in the Biennial, is looking at this movement between studio and industry, which is something that we're particularly interested in exploring, I guess. And if we have any, or if I have any regrets about things that we haven't been able to achieve, one of those is really to have a meaningful legacy in terms of critical debate about what's come out of the biennials. We're never in the business of doing doorstep catalogues in the way that other biennials around the world might do, and I never thought it would be appropriate for something like state. And indeed, I think if we do get anything out of this third one, it would be actually quite a slim, but hopefully quite a meaningful volume of either presentations that we've had over the last three biennials, or commissioned pieces of writing, short pieces of writing. But there's definitely something there that we need to throw back into the world. Because I think we need to take our place in that space, as well as the other more practical elements that we've been doing.
Yeah, I think it's still that whilst we haven't got the catalogues, gathering dust in the storeroom, we always said we wanted to be a catalyst, and I think it is happening. I think we are. There is that. This evening is actually part of it. It's kind of, there's a big conversation going on here, and then that conversation needs to carry on, not just here in this space, but outside. But we need tools or opportunities for that to continue to encourage that debate, discussion, and because that then comes back in terms of people wanting to get involved in the conversation and the relationship with the place and the event. And that's cute. And then ask, where are we going, Jeremy? What is the plan for taking this whole thing?
Okay. Well, it's quite interesting because this afternoon I was talking to a consultant that the City Council had brought in to look at three strands of activity that they want kind of advice and recommendations around, which is Stoke as a world surrounding centre. Although I thought they'd actually already, back in the first Bible, they stood up and said that Stoke is the world surrounding capital. It's gone quiet on that one. The second is around the potential and the value of the Staffordshire Hall. And then the third is, what was the third? It'll come to me, sorry. But the gist of what I was talking to the consultant about was around this world ceramic city and what that might do. We are setting up the Clay Foundation, which will be the registered charity that will kind of will encompass everything that we've done to date. And that has three main objectives. The delivery of the Biennial, the delivery of a 24/7 programme of public engagement, and the achievement of a national centre for ceramic innovation. That's our catchphrase at the moment. It's all in lower caps, and I always say that because it's not about a building, it's not about an iconic building, it's about, well, it's always been Neil Brownsword's vision for the city in a way, is that the components of a national centre for ceramic innovation are here already. They're there if you don't have to go that far to find them. And that's what we've kind of tried to test with the various commissions that we've done up until now. But that there are the networks, there are the components that, for instance, the European Ceramic Work Centre in Ten Bosch in Holland has in one building in one place. We have it kind of in spades, but it's spread out, and it has, well, it has, you know, in a way, it has a much bigger potential than EKWC. And so those three elements are what that's what the future is.
The thing about innovation, make the distinction, which is one of the distinctions of the City Council, right there, but it's innovations in practice, and in practice across industry, cultural, education, community sector. So it's not innovations in technologies. It's about ideas, it's about thinking, it's about engagement. It's about exploration of clay as an expressive medium, not just a support to mass-produced products.
Yeah, and I think actually he was quite good having him kind of ask me questions, because it's kind of helped me to crystallise perhaps my own thoughts about where this could go. And in relation to some kind of a ceramic, well, the city needs, this is Ben's hobby horse, but I mean the city needs a separate visual arts space. It needs its own. If it's going to grow up and be a city of culture, that's the third element that the consultants are looking at in 2022. But that's fine. So if it's going to be grown up like that, it needs to have a proper visual arts facility in some form or other. But actually, I think from the BCB's point of view, it needs to be, it's not just about presentation, it's about practice, but it's also about this idea of it's about this idea of the value of play in people's lives. I mean, underpinning all of this is kind of what we're coming to, and through working with particularly some of the partners this time, is a recognition that play has a place to play in people's lives, in terms of, not just in terms of jobs, but in terms of well-being, in terms of being better qualified to deal with the world in different ways, and to make better bread. I don't know, but certainly, one of the examples I keep quoting is our colleagues at Playground Collective, who work with a surgeon called Roger Kneebone, who great name for a surgeon, teaches surgeons in Imperial College. And the students he teaches, he already introduces them to a pattern cutter, a Savile Row pattern cutter, a German Street shoemaker, a musical instrument maker and a digger driver, because those are all people whose skills, hand skills, are relevant if you're going to be a surgeon. But what he's now, through Playground, what he's now doing is teaching them to throw pots, because if you can throw a pot, you learn what the properties of a fluid material, and that's really important, even if you're going to be a keyboard surgeon, of actually understanding how organs move within the body. And once you say it, it's a kind of no-brainer, but it's quite a leap to make that if you can't see it coming up suitably. So I think that needs to be reflected in the way in which this whole initiative is developed in the future. Because these are important things actually, and I think it would give it a difference as well, talking with the other visual arts buildings in this country.
I mean, this whole thing about how play works, of course, we make those arguments for other media. The significance is that it's getting Stoke-on-Trent, and the whole identity is bound up in it. Year in, year out, and you have more life, 3-year plan, whatever it is it's funded. It can bed in, and it might have a kind of big public face for the work, the outcomes of working at the centre, with the nurture at the centre, and the public engagement program. The kind of big public face of that will be the Biennial Festival, which comes to cities in 2 years. And that's a point at which it's shared across the city and the stakeholders involved, but also the outside world that's been coming in, that comes in again to participate in this celebration, which is a festival.
I think that's a good point to start thinking about the soup. And I just pass it round.
Oh, we haven't finished.
No, but we can carry on talking